Good day and welcome, Matthew here again. We are at the Sardegna circuit for Daily Race C. We're in the Red Bull X2019 Competition. And the action gets off right away. I absolutely nailed that start. And some guys get nailed them back, which is not surprising with a good race. But as you see, Akagi is on pole, I'm starting second. And the lights were held for quite a long time, so I think it was definitely more of a I'm going to go now, and kind of fluked it and pipped Akagi into the first corner quite comfortably. This was the third race with Akagi for the night. The first race I ended up winning, well, more Akagi lost than me winning. He spun out in the later stages, I think lap 10 or 11, and it gifted me the win by about 10 seconds, which was quite nice. Race 2 between us, he tidied up his act, got the pace down a bit more and pulled away from me. He was doing a better job in saving the fuel. I was turning up in the pits with about 45 litres to go, and he was about 56 litres to go. So he was doing a better job saving the fuel. So I was now trying to replicate his strategy in this race, saving more fuel. The strategy for this track in this race is, well, you got 13 laps. You're going to do 6 or 7 laps on the soft tyres, and then another 6 or 7 laps, depending on what you didn't do the first time, on soft tyres. Soft tyres are the way to go, mediums are too slow, and you want to save fuel. You don't want to be running a higher fuel map, you just want to be short shifting. So you can save as much fuel as you can, come into the pits, so you're in the pits for a short amount of time, and then go out again. So shifting about halfway up the shifter bar seems to work quite nicely. I end up getting into the pits about 52 litres this time round. So I was close to Akagi. He's obviously doing a better job while retaining good race pace. But it's always quite nervous being in front of a driver so fast. Always had insane respect for him, especially seeing him in Tokyo and what he did last year at the regionals. It was incredible to watch. So I know how fast he is and what a competitor he is. So this is quite nerve-wracking, and I was just trying to go as fast as I can while saving as much fuel and keeping the car on the track between the walls and as far ahead of him as possible, which, as you can see, isn't very far at all. Jumping forward to lap 5 now, I had managed to keep the gap at about half a second. Lap 3 and 4 I'd pulled it out a little bit, about 0.7 of a second, but making that error out of turn 1 certainly cost me a bit of time, and I didn't take these combination corners here, the left, right, and then the following left, that well. These seem to be my Achilles heel at the moment. I don't seem to be able to get these combo corners quite right, and I'm quite slow through them by comparison, certainly to Akagi. And so this is where he's gone on attack. Down the main straight the past few laps, he's just stayed in my draft and saved fuel. This time I think he's trying to get past me. So he pulls to the inside, and we're going to go side by side through the hairpin. I brake as loud as I can. I knew I was going to take the outside line, hold him off to the right, and I have the inside line here, but I just clipped that curb. And these cars, they have incredible traction in a straight line, but during turning, as long as you don't have too much steering lock on, they've got very good traction. But turn too much and it can be very easy to spin them or lose the back end. And that right hander, I'd never gone side by side with somebody through that combination, just coming out of that hairpin. And that right hander, I got my right hand wheel on the curb, or the concrete curbing, which was just slippery enough under the pressure of the torque and the gear, and it pitched me to the right. I caught it, the car gripped and spun me onto the outside wall, and it gifted me a 5-second penalty. 5-second penalty taken down the main straight, and I've got Red Devils Racing coming up my rear. He gets quite aggressive into this corner, takes it a bit better than me, goes deep on the brakes, way too deep on the brakes. I saw it coming, I pulled it up, and I ducked under him, but unfortunately I didn't get as good of a run as I would have liked. I tried to go around the outside of him here, kind of managed that and start to pull away, and I was hoping that was the last I was going to see of him, to be honest. But up here he goes, gets my draft, goes around the outside. I brake deep into this corner. I knew I was going to be late in the brake, so I just hold it up in the apex, try to prevent it from getting back past, and away I go. So the difference between us there, he dove on me into what is it, corner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the right-hander. I saw it coming. If he had managed to pull it up more and just sit on the apex, I wouldn't have been able to undercut him, and he would have had the line, you know, the position and then the line through the left-hander. So when I did it back to him on the, the hairpin at the end of the back straight, I knew I was going too deep. I could have taken it faster, but I would have just run out wide and then allowed him to undercut me. I didn't want that to happen, so I pull it up even harder, sit on the apex a little bit, so he cannot undercut me and go past me, and I take that position back and feed into the pits before him. He was about half a second, 4/10 behind me going into the pits, but because I saved the fuel, I went in with, 52% to go, and he went in with 41%. I come out 3.5, 4 seconds ahead of him. So, saved that position, but now I'm 25 seconds behind first place and sitting in 7th. So, even though I was not going to match Akagi, I wanted my 2nd place back. Jumping forward to lap 7, I passed a few guys who pitted, but I came out, these were the 2 leaders just before. Get past 6, I brake deep, I scare 5th into going off. I think there was, I don't know whether he went off on his own or if he saw me and tried to outbrake me, but I was very happy with that. I nearly outbraked myself into that corner. I was quite afraid of actually running into him, but I managed to pull it up. It was just a bit later than usual. I was on the inside line and not used to braking there, but I managed to just pull it up in time, not go off the track unlike 5th place did, and I took the line. Took the position. So jumping forward to the end of lap 7 now, we've got Mad Taggart and Nick Manikin battling for 3rd and 4th. I've caught them quite rapidly. I believe Nick is about heading to the pits, but I'm not sure what their strategies are. They may be going to the end, I don't know. I just hang back a bit. I'm just off the throttle a bit more because I'm in the draft. Don't want to make a mistake, don't want to run into the back of anybody. I go side by side through here. I thought Mad might have been held up a bit more with hitting the inside wall. Good acceleration out. There's a gap there ahead of Nick, so I take that position. I go side by side with Mad. Nick looks like he pulls into the pits in the rear view mirror, and Mad Taggart is right beside me. I just brake very late and go around the outside of him into that banked turn 1. It's a brilliant corner. Absolutely love that corner. I figured he was on older tyres than me. He was going a lot longer into the race, so as long as I put on the anchors as late as I dare, took that outside line, used the banked curve to my advantage, then I should be able to swing around the outside, and I did quite comfortably. So now it was just a matter of chasing down 2nd place. It was Hill F1 Never Give Up. There he goes, and he was about 3 seconds ahead of the stage, and he had pitted ahead of me, so I knew he was on good tyres, and he is quite a fast driver, so I wasn't too sure if I was going to be able to make it. So now heading into the end of lap 11, heading to lap 12, I had managed to catch up to Hill up ahead of me and into his draft now. So the slipstream effect on these cars is incredible. You don't get a pull straight away, but certainly as the straight goes on, you get a massive advantage over the car ahead. He pulls to the right, I guess trying to avoid as much of the slipstream as possible. But I thought it was a strange move. I was never going to miss that slipstream or miss his draft. I was always going to pull up behind him and take his draft. So I believe he should have defended to the inside. He took to the outside and made it quite a easy pass. I was ahead of him by the time I hit the braking zone. I had the inside line, so it was never going to be a difficult pass. So that was the race. This is the last lap now. Hill falls back about a second or two behind me. Akagi is 20 seconds up the road after my incident and then penalty. A bit of a double whammy there. But it was a brilliant race. I love racing with Akagi. It's always good to see him on track, especially during a daily race. Wasn't the race I had hoped for. I wanted to be a bit closer to him. That was the plan anyway going into it. Had a brilliant start. Never thought that would happen, and jumping ahead of Akagi, that was really, really cool. And going side by side with him. But unfortunately, incident put an end to that battle, but then made it a bit more interesting coming back through the field and trying to claim back my second place. I've been loving this combo this week so far. It's a lot of fun. Puts in perspective what the guys at the Nürburgring Championships did, because learning this car and this track in a short time and putting on the race they did was incredible, to say the least. So, you know, a lot of respect for the guys that were in Nürburgring and doing this race with these cars. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Anyway, thank you for coming along and watching. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and we will see you again next time.